Well, why? Okay, I think my camera is too big. Let's make it a bit smaller. So it's normal. Yeah, it's normal. Okay, let me see the quote. Oh, just a second, guys. Mhm. All of it is Sunday. Okay. Okay. To my working days, to the practice. Yes. Because my exam day is coming. I think I gotta close windows too because noise outside. Just a second. And okay, so what I'm gonna do, okay, I will share the link to my Telegram channel or Telegram group if anybody wants to watch me. But I must kind of mention that there is no guarantee that live streaming will be smooth because I don't pay attention to streaming much. Mostly I pay attention to studying. My test plan is doing mock tests. It can be useful for some students also. That's why I want to stream it. But here, let me check my voice. Is it we can hear it or not? It can hear it or not? No, Asilbek. Okay. Asilbek asked it about what should I do to start English from zero. I will send you a link. Okay. Asilbek asked it about what should I do to start English from zero. I will send you a link. I will send it to Asilbek. Just a second. Should I share it? Yeah. It's a Telegram channel, not channel, Telegram group. So I feel that voice is normal. Um, so how how can we do mock tests? Yep. Okay, there's a website that I mostly use with my students. Where is Edge? So publishers. There. The website is jump into, and you can enter. And of course, you should log in. Yeah, we should log in for better test experience. And here are the tests. It's kind of similar to real tests mostly. And the real mock exam, real CDI tests. I mean, I haven't taken one, but I guess it's like this. All right, let's choose. I don't know which one I haven't done. You may see the scores here. It's not my scores. Mostly I borrow my laptop. I lent my borrow or lent. Lent, yeah. I lent my laptop to my students during the lesson, and they do some practice if they don't have their own laptop or computer. Maybe from Cambridge 20. Did I do this one? Let's clean the answers here. Yes, if I want to do by myself, I should clean all answers. Um, it's useful, however, there is a little bit uncomfortable features of it. For example, when you go to the listening part, here it shows you the audio script. You have to close it as soon as you start your testing. All right. And here, audio version, sometimes if you don't have stable internet, you may have some interruptions. You may not listen what they're saying, or it may not play well. And it may not be ideal, but that's what we have, I think. I think it's the most similar to the real exam tests. It's my view. And they are Cambridge mostly. And before we start, I gotta check everything. I gotta check that everything going well. Our live stream as well. So guys, during streaming, I may touch my face, my nose. Please ignore it because in real exam conditions, you should focus on what you are reading, what you are listening. So I may not control my facial expressions or my body language. Here, the reason why I'm showing my camera, why I am kind of leaving it on, it's because I want you to see me that I am doing it by myself. It's authentic. I'm not looking at any answers or any other stuff. Actually, it's not for you, for me too, yeah, as I mentioned before. And so then we're gonna start practice. Practice takes 3 hours. I may take a break also because it's first time I'm doing mock exam now, and since I did the last time, it has been a years since I think maybe a year. I'm not sure. I can't remember the last time I took a mock test. Here's our tests. Um, and I heard um, some candidates who took the test, who have taken tests recently, you are allowed to have a paper during the exam. It really, what can I say? I'm searching for the precise words. Delighted me because I saw that you have to do everything digital on your screen, but it's not. Conducting tests, you are given paper and pen, if I'm not mistaken. It's a pretty big advantage taking notes, especially during speaking. So that's why I have pen and piece of paper too. So I think we can start. Can we start? And I hope that the stream uh, doesn't end because there is no guarantee. There may be, a problem with internet and some technical problems. I want to warn you that I don't pay attention to it because I will be focusing on my mock test. Okay, before we start, let me drink something. Bismillah, let's start.
Part 1. You will hear a man asking a friend for advice on things to do in the city with a family of visitors. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 6. Now listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 6.
Sandra, I seem to remember you had some family visitors staying with you recently.
Yeah, that's right. My brother and his family were here a couple of months ago.
OK, good. Well, I wanted to ask your advice. I've got my cousin and her family visiting next month, and as I don't have kids, I've no idea where to take them.
Right. What about accommodation? Are they going to stay with you in your flat?
No, thankfully. There wouldn't be room. My cousin wants me to recommend a hotel. Do you know anywhere?
Yes, I do actually. I always recommend people stay at the King's Hotel.
Where's that near?
It's about 5 minutes walk from Murray Station, so nice and central. It's actually on George Street.
Oh, yes, I know. I think they're on quite a tight budget, so how much roughly is it to stay there?
If you book a family room, it's about £125 per night. My brother paid for 2 double rooms in the end, and I think that was around £95 for each room.
Oh, that's not too bad.
So how old are your cousin's kids?
12 and 9. So I want to organise some trips while they're here. I was thinking of doing a bus tour of the city centre, as none of them have been here before.
Those bus tours are quite expensive. I think it's better to do a walking tour. It gives you a much better feel for the city. There's one that starts from Colton Square. It takes a couple of hours and doesn't cost that much.
Sounds good. I'll look that up, thanks.
If the weather's nice, one thing you could do is visit the old fort. You could get there by boat. The whole trip takes half a day.
That's a really good idea. I'd like to do that myself. And if the weather's bad, I was thinking they could go to the Science Museum. But maybe they could do that when I'm at work.
Yeah, don't forget, it's closed on Mondays.
They're here from Saturday for 4 nights, so Tuesday would be best, I think.
And it won't be so crowded then. Saturdays are terrible. I took my kids to the exhibition on old computers there, and it was far too crowded. I wanted to go back, but it's finished now.
That's a shame. My cousin's kids would have enjoyed that.
There's another one starting soon on space, which looks really good too.
OK, well, I'll mention that to my cousin.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 7 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 7 to 10.
Have you thought about where to take them to eat?
Well, I really like all the food stalls at Clacton Market. My cousin's vegetarian. I know it's one of the best places for that kind of food.
Definitely, and there'll be loads of choice for the kids too. You need to get there quite early though. At the weekend, most of the stores stop serving lunch at 2:30.
Good point. It's all going to need careful planning. My cousin said she'd love to take the kids to a show at the theatre, but tickets are so expensive.
I know, but you can get some good deals if you book online with bargaintickets.com for the following day. On some seats, there's a 75% discount.
Really? I must try and get some.
Yeah. There are lots of things you can do for free as well. No need to spend a fortune.
Like what?
They're coming next month, right? Well, check and see if it's the same weekend as the Roots Music Festival in Blakewell Gardens.
ROOTS.
Yeah, check it out online. It's always a family-friendly event, and there's no entry charge.
That sounds perfect.
And if you're in Blakewell Gardens, climb Telegraph Hill. You'll be able to look right down on the port. Everyone's always really impressed because it's so huge.
Oh yeah, I've been meaning to do that for ages. I've heard the view's amazing.
Yeah, it's really worth the effort.
Well, that's given me loads of ideas. Thanks so much for...
That is the end of part 1. You now have 1 minute to check your answers to part 1. Part 2. You will hear a guide talking to members of the public who are visiting a football stadium in the UK. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 14. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 14.
Good morning and welcome to City Football Club. I'd like to give you some useful information about your visit to the stadium today, and then we'll start the tour of the areas of the stadium that are open to visitors. I can see lots of children here today, so just to let mums and dads know a few things before we start. The stadium has lots of stairs and the players' tunnel is very dark. Please don't let your children wander off on their own, even for a minute. We don't want any accidents or anyone getting frightened. Cameras are permitted everywhere and you can take pictures of your child shooting a penalty. Assistants are helping to organise this, and hopefully the queue won't be too long. It's very hot and sunny out on the pitch today. You can get food and drink at the cafe, and I really recommend the healthy lunch boxes for children. Also in the cafe, children are invited to do a football-themed drawing. We'll pick the best one at the end of the afternoon, so don't forget to put your name and contact details on the back. That way, if you've left the stadium before then, we'll send your prize, but sadly we can't return drawings. I'd like to mention some features of the tour. We'll start with the 360 cinema experience, which has been very popular over the years. And then I'll take you to the players' dressing rooms before going outside to the seating area and the pitch. I should say, if you'd prefer your visit to be self-guided, please collect headphones from the reception, and then you can listen to the pre-recorded information at your own speed. We've only just introduced this feature and would appreciate your feedback. We're thinking of offering tours in other languages in future, so if you have any thoughts on that, we'd welcome those too. If you plan to return another time, you might like to book one of our VIP tours. We've only just started offering these, and they can be booked online.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 15 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 15 to 20.
Now, the stadium you see today was built in 1989 as part of a 3-year redevelopment project. While that project was going on, the team had to play its matches at the ground of another club. Apart from that, the club has been here on this site since 1870. As some of you may know, that was the start of a really important decade in the history of football in this country. For example, 1870 was also the year that football teams started to include a player whose role it was to guard the goal. It's hard to imagine what the game must have been like without someone in that position, isn't it? In 1872 and 73, many other clubs were established, both here and abroad. And the following year, in 1874, referees were allowed to send players off if they committed certain offences. And also in that year, teams started having to swap ends at half-time. One fact I was interested to discover was that in early football games, the aim was for the scorer to get the ball between 2 flag posts, and later between sticks joined at the top with a piece of tape. In 1875, that tape was replaced with the solid crossbar that we're familiar with today. 1877 saw the founding of further new clubs, and the history books tell us that in the same year, all the clubs decided to set a limit of 90 minutes for each match. Before that, it was a more casual arrangement.
Part 2. You will hear a guide talking to 15 to 20.
The year that football teams started to include a player whose role it was to guard the goal. It's hard to imagine what the game must. The aim was for the scorer to get the ball between 2 flag posts, and later between sticks joined at the top with a piece of tape. In 1875, that tape was replaced with the solid crossbar that we're familiar with today. 1877 saw the founding of further new clubs, and the history books tell us that in the same year, all the clubs decided to set a limit of 90 minutes for each match. Before that, it was a more casual arrangement, and this sometimes caused huge arguments, and sometimes fights, during matches, when one team called the end of the game and the other team wanted to play on to try and score a winning goal. By 1878, the number of teams in the Football League increased again. In addition, referees started using whistles and electric lamps were installed on certain pitches. This was a significant change, as games could then be played in the evenings all year round. In 1880, clubs began to charge fans for admission to games, even though players were still amateurs and had other proper jobs. That's hard to imagine in the modern professional game, where top players earn significant sums of money from both playing and commercial activities.
That is the end of Part 2. You now have 30 seconds to check your answers to Part 2. Part 3. You will hear 2 education students discussing an assignment on teaching handwriting to children. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 24. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 24.
How are you getting on with the assignment on handwriting?
Not too bad. I hadn't realised that children benefit in so many ways from learning to write. It's such an important skill, and yet most people think handwriting is less important than in the past because people hardly ever write by hand these days.
Yes, and all the evidence suggests children should learn to write by hand before they learn to type, not least because it helps their memory.
That's right. The physical act of writing helps children to remember letters. That seems pretty obvious when you think about it.
What's less obvious is how it helps develop their concentration. They have to sit still and focus on one thing.
Yeah, that aspect of handwriting had never occurred to me before.
Same here. I'm not sure I understand how it improves children's imagination, though.
Well, there was that study which showed that primary-aged children generated more ideas when they were writing by hand than using a keyboard. I would have guessed that would be the case.
Yeah. I'd never associated spatial awareness with handwriting either. I thought spatial awareness was more to do with knowing where you are in relation to objects or other people.
I thought that too. But good spatial awareness is essential for writing because you have to space words correctly. It's not just fine motor skills that improve through writing, as I'd always assumed.
Handwriting is so much harder for children with dyspraxia, who have problems coordinating movement. It's good there are lots of things you can do in the classroom to help them. They need so much more support with letter formation. You need to play lots of games to help them distinguish letter shapes. It takes a lot of patience.
Yeah, I like the idea of using one of those pens that lights up if you press too hard. That seems like a really simple solution.
Yes, absolutely. I'm not sure there's much you can do about children with dyspraxia writing very slowly. It's more important to focus on accuracy, and as they get more confident, I think they eventually speed up.
One quite simple thing you can do is to use grid paper. So they write each letter in a box, and that trains them to space the letters correctly.
Indeed, that's more important for legibility than trying to get them to write in a straight line.
Before you hear the rest of the discussion, you have some time to look at questions 25 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 25 to 30.
For some children, it might be better to teach them to write on a laptop rather than by hand, like children with dyslexia. They often really struggle with handwriting, and some just give up.
Yeah, it's not as frustrating for them if they get things wrong. On a keyboard, they can be more willing to have a go. But I read that developing fluency isn't any faster.
That's right. Did you read that article on the benefits of teaching print rather than cursive handwriting, where the letters are joined up?
Yes. Well, in the past, cursive writing was certainly considered more stylish and educated, but not anymore. Teachers' attitudes have changed because it's been proved that cursive is more difficult to learn, especially for children with learning difficulties who find joining up letters really challenging.
I agree. I was always worried that my poor handwriting affected my exam results, and now research shows that I was right to worry. I'm sure a lot of students think it's unfair that they're being judged on their handwriting, not just their knowledge.
Marks are definitely affected if examiners can't read the script. That's why it's always been so important to teach children to write legibly. Do you think the role of handwriting will change in the future?
I can't see that changing much. Touch typing still isn't taught in most schools, which is a shame. But maybe that won't be necessary in the future, because people will also be able to write by hand on digital devices. Anyway, teachers understand the value of handwriting. It's a basic life skill.
True. However, the fact is that people are writing by hand less and less and relying on digital devices. That does cause some problems.
You mean like note-taking? There are lots of apps for that.
And for reading historical documents, apparently. But my mum is shocked by my awful spelling and the fact that my punctuation is really inconsistent. I think you can put that down to lack of practice.
I expect so. Personally, I miss writing by hand. I hardly ever write anything now. I remember my grandparents had such beautiful handwriting, and it was so individual. Nobody I know would be able to identify my handwriting now. It's a shame.
I know. I feel the same way. I used to write a diary by hand, and now I do that digitally. It just seems less effort to do it that way. So it's not just a problem.
Part 4. You will hear part of an environmental science lecture about the impact of birds of prey on a farming community in Africa. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
We've been looking at different types of conflicts that may arise between wildlife and humans at the boundaries of protected areas, such as national parks and animal sanctuaries. I'd like to illustrate this by telling you about some research that I've been involved in recently in the Central African country of Zambia, in the area around the Chembe Bird Sanctuary, which contains over 300 of the listed birds of Zambia. These include a number of birds of prey, such as eagles, hawks, and owls, that live by hunting and killing other birds and animals. Now, most of the people living in the local communities near to the bird sanctuary are small-scale farmers, and these birds of prey provide important social and ecological benefits to them. For example, a lot of damage can be caused to farmers' crops by rodents, such as rats, which would consume the crops as they grow in the fields, as well as after harvesting if they weren't hunted and killed by the birds. And the predatory habits of these birds also protect farmers in other ways. For example, a major danger to rural workers is snakes, whose bite may be dangerous or even fatal, and birds of prey have a major role in keeping their populations under control. Local people have always been aware of these benefits, and for years, even before the sanctuary was opened in 1973, the birds played a key role in the culture of the region. However, more recently, the sanctuary and its birds have also become increasingly important to the community in economic terms, because at present, after a relatively slow start, tourism has become an important source of revenue for them. However, although these birds of prey are protected by the government, their numbers are falling. Some of these deaths are accidental. Fatalities occur when birds alight on roads to catch and eat their prey and are hit by fast-moving traffic. Drivers in Zambia have to take special care at night, as birds may regard the quieter roads as safe places to sleep. Accidental deaths may also occur if these birds fly close to high-voltage power lines, as they may be electrocuted. This is a particular danger in the heavy rain, which can occur in the region in the months from December to April. And local farmers also pose a threat to these birds. As well as growing crops, small-scale farmers in the area also rear chickens. These provide food for the farmers' families, as well as being an important source of income. But they're also an easy target for birds of prey, and so farmers may shoot these birds, which is illegal but understandable, or they may poison the birds, which again is illegal and can have negative effects on the ecosystem. So, how else can farmers protect their chickens from birds of prey? Some people believe that to prevent the predators from settling near the area where the chickens are kept, it's best to keep this area free from vegetation. But in fact, this is counterproductive, as it means the chickens have no cover to hide in and they'll be easier for the birds to see. Another possibility would be to prevent the chickens from going outside at all, and to keep them safe from predators inside a building. But this would cost far too much to be a practical solution. Nearly all the farmers reported that they spent a lot of time and effort trying to frighten off the birds of prey without actually harming them. Most of the farmers had at least one dog and said this was a big help at scaring away the predators. Some of the farmers also reported that during the breeding season, when the chickens were particularly vulnerable, they encouraged their children to watch over the chickens and to hit pans with a metal spoon so that the resulting noise would succeed in driving away birds that were trying to seize the young chicks. None of these methods was 100% effective, so as a result, the village people told us that rather than just using one method, they were forced to use a combination for them to have any effect. And even so, these birds of prey remain a major threat to the chickens' survival and cause considerable economic loss to farmers. So we looked at the possibility of a longer-term solution to...
That is the end of Part 4. You now have 1 minute to check your answers to Part 4.
So, what's the news of the language is streaming? Yeah, I think it's going well. But it was much more uncomfortable than I thought. Let's move to the reading. In reading, guys, um, it should, yes, and should have a clock. Timer because its timer is not reliable. What I mean that if you restart, time can starts from the beginning again. So you had better put a timer for yourself while you are doing reading, Do I have 1 hour? Why I don't have 1 hour? Really surprising stuff. Hour. I choose this one. Ready? Alright. Okay, guys, I'm gonna turn on a music because it's a little bit noisy here. I can hear the voices from the next room. I'm really sensitive person, so it would be better if I listen to some music. Music means music. Yeah, here the problem was I said, oh, coffee produced about plenty of work during any other time in her life. But why it's not given, I don't understand. They are saying the last 2 decades of her life was relatively unproductive. But there is no comparison with her. The problem is, I think it's about math also. So last decades, it's 70, 80s. I again, pro Y. It's really challenging, guys. As you can see, it was pretty close. What was my problem for listening? Yes, here it should be true. It should be not given. Hmm, why? I shouldn't do that as a test, guys. I gotta take every question seriously. My problem is that I must overestimate myself in terms of listening. Let's go back to the scores. Listening was 9. What was this one question? Which was this my one problem? 24. Yeah, I knew. I hesitate if you can watch that. Let's go back to it. 24, listening 24. Plus 3. Plus 3 is difficult. And yeah, I just can somehow lost on the track. Concentration problem. Yeah, it was 9. It's pretty cool, but I should do my best not to skip any question. To see, apply too much pressure. Actually, I wanted to do it. So in that case, my listening, I am ready. 8.5. Reading. You see, I found very difficult, challenging questions, but overestimation is a bad thing. You gotta be very careful. Okay, we're gonna do writing. Um, you can use. Okay, I don't use kind of writing part of it. Yeah, it's good to kind of use a place, but the problem is you had better. I don't think it can give you the decent score because its score varies. Either it gives you very high score or very low score. So you know, wait, just a second. Let me drink something. Yeah, streaming is working. Writing stuff. Yeah, I should have done it actually without stopping, guys. I can't be excused as I am doing it first time recently. Okay, let's start. 1 hour and go. But guys, okay, let's be honest. Actually, I wrote for this question. What's this one? No, I didn't write for this one. I may take this task too. But let's write for new topics. Yeah, for in terms of that process, I wrote, so it would be unfair if I rewrite it. I may just process, but something new. I have Word file. And I should turn it off. What I need is what I want to do, guys. Just a second. I want to turn off the your language. Yes, I want to create. When you write, guys, please turn off this after correction. Because in the exam, unfortunately, you don't have it. So you had better turn it off if you don't want to kind of get used to using it. But proofing, spell check, type, grammar, frequent concrete words. Let's see. Yes, I don't have autocorrection. And I should choose some recent where is that CDI report JavaX channel. I'm not mistaken. They have, yeah. I need process, guys, process. So they have process, map, line graph, pie chart. Whoa. Too much, but slippings of April. So is it? Rates one and go up. Map, line graph table, map, pie chart, table, map. I think I'm gonna have something difficult. Whoa. 14th of April, and then it's claimed to be the exam question. Try to write essay for it, but I'm not sure I can get good. As you can see, it's difficult. It's a diagram, and I hope my students don't get, and I also don't get the the questions like this. But as you can say in that, for example, right now I choose a mock test and there were process questions. So I have to be honest and I should write essay for it. And I recommend to start from task two for most of my students, but it depends. Most teachers recommend to start from task one because after you finish your task one, you'll feel more in the confident. Not sure. I want to start from task two. Okay. Let's start. This is the way people underestimate items as a bubble fashion trends. Okay, well, my topic is person. See. They are saying dressing influenced by fashion trends, meaning that people choose by seeing some fashion models or fashion companies or fashions. How has global fashion become such a strong influence on people's lives? Okay, what should I find? I should find how causes maybe how fashion become like this. How fashion is important. It's kind of reason. I think I should find a reason. Has become it uses the present perfect, so I should talk about something, some progress, or I don't know how to even explain it. Something happened recent years. Historical evidence. Do you think it's a positive or negative? Okay, it's double question. It's positive or negative? I think it's negative. Okay, let's make a plan. How it progressed. I think first of all, media, of course, because of media. What does the media do? Media first, a TV, and I think before TV, I think newspapers, then TV, now internet and social media. So they promote it. So they brainwash people to make money, of course. I think this point is enough. If I clearly can describe this point, it really is a four. Okay, negative. It's negative, I think. Why? Because why it's negative means that I'm controlled it. I'm controlled. So what's the problem with being controlled? Hmm, others choose for me. For me. And so what if when they choose not beautiful, but I may buy something something profitable for sellers I may buy. And I think that's all. That's my plan. Many aspects of the way people dress today are influenced by the global fashion trends. Okay. Let's say mm, playing a crucial role in the textile industry since most customers customers choose sale outfit outfit mm, because it's on it. Let me change it. This trend has been promoted by several media forward, this, and pushed forward. This way of this trend. Okay, I'm not sure I'm using because this trend has been promoted by several media sources for decades and has been affecting society negatively in many ways. In many ways. All right. Fashion is playing a crucial role in textile industry since most customers choose their outfits based on fashion trends. This this way of um, this marketing strategy, let's say, this marketing strategy has been promoted by several media sources over decades. Promoted by uh, producers or a in several media sources for decades and has been affecting society negatively in many ways. Um, looking back, looking back, the early introduction of mission we can date back to thousands of years, thousands of years when um, when the public use it to imitate why it has correction. Somebody puts in use it to imitate their steal the problem. Their rulers and nobles in their view is addressing like them. just need to increase in the types of closing or closes. Different types of closes. Let's lead to an increase in the popularity of certain types of clauses. So what? Looking at the early introduction of fashion, it dates back to thousands of years when the public used it to imitate the rulers and nobles in their communities by dressing like them. Over here, this is because having similar outfit may give you may give people something they strive for strive for since since say kings, since royals, since royal family, and noble families were believed to be chosen people. The early introduction of fashion can date back to the thousands of years when the public used it to imitate their rulers and nobles in their communities by dressing like them. This is because having similar outfit may give people something they strive for. Strive for. How can I say? Power or respect, maybe not respect, prestige. Okay. Prestige. Prestige. Since royal family and noble families, since royal and noble families are believed to be chosen people, with divine however, in modern times, the main for mission trends was years for getting more money manipulating and brainwashing customers, general public. Actively active is active media campaigns have been by global race by active media campaigns have been persuading people to buy new small event shaping the behavior, I would say customer behavior of customers, just purchase choice, right? Of customers, encouraging them, can I say? Encouraging them. Encouraging them to buy more and just more fewer just yourself that impact of this trend. Mental detrimental effect on society. So away from making decisions. It means that while I useful moving into the truth and to into truth. Situation actually promoted to begin more on shelf benefits. By increase okay rather than something needs needs and their needs with other than something meets their needs is a low budget price. Something that their needs with a low price. In a deeper sense, in a deeper sense, in a deeper sense. People are manipulated to people who ancestry will spend money, just money uh, indirectly. People are indirectly, let's say, forced. It's harsh, but forced to spend spend the person people are indirectly forced to spend the amount of money that they the amount of money that can be used for exchange between white what greater benefits their family and future stability in the future. In terms of impact of this trend, it is a detrimental effect on our society as people are mostly controlled in a subtle way, making decisions, control it. How unclear, yeah. In terms of the impact of this trend, it has a detrimental effect on our society as people are mostly controlled in a subtle way because of these trends. I think this trend has a detrimental effect on our society as people are mostly controlled in a subtle way instead of freely making decisions. As due to due to media due to media brainwashing, machine people are mostly controlled. Who are making decisions. This means that while buying a piece of clothing, individuals tend to choose something actively promoted by companies rather than something that meet their needs with a low budget price. In a deeper sense, people are indirectly forced to spend the amount of money that provide far greater benefits for their family and future. As a result, families are suffering, suffering financial instability and stability due to owing to critics form of approach due to e critics critic ultimately leading to less cross period and stable society. and I know, of course, it should be refined, I guess. Food, food, yeah, following of mission, mission, as a non history minimum rights in and can can use it. How can I can use it inappropriately in the in recent years by causing industry in industry exist serious negative influence on so reality. Mm, I'm not sure it is it is. All right. I don't know. I did something. It wasn't easy, so I should change some stuff here. Fashion is playing a crucial role in textile industry since most customers choose their outfits based on fashion trends. This marketing strategy strategy has been promoted by producers in several media sources for decades. This phenomenon has the thousand thousand all background history and history and history. How this phenomenon has a thousand years history. It gonna is gonna um, for some closing companies in present case and this this trend has been affecting society. To promote their notes in recent decades. This trend refers to final is to affect society in many ways. Looking back, the early introduction of fashion can date back to thousands of years when the public used to imitate the rules and nobles in their communities by dressing like them. It's because having enough may give people something they give people sense of divine power, divine power, since royal and noble families were believed to be chosen people by gods. However, in modern times, the main drive for fashion trends was eagerness for making more money by made by wealthy clothing companies, and the brainwashing general public. Manipulating and brainwashing general public. Active media campaigns by global brands have been shaping behavior customs, encouraging them to purchase more and more tailored clothes. Behind customers' choices or their purchase purchases we can see active media campaign about brands that have been shaping behavior of customers. Encouraging them to purchase more and more newer clothes. in customers' choices. Nowadays, behind customers every choice. We can see media campaigns by global brands and garden purchase more and newer clothes. That determines the effect on our society as society. People are mostly in control of certain decisions and due to while people are mostly in control. As people are mostly on the other side, people are literate, brainwashing. This This means that while buying a piece of clothing, individuals tend to choose something actively promoted by companies rather than something that meet their own products. That means it's with a low budget price. Mm, yeah. I checked for the company names and there's a low, right, so those which mean their needs with a low budget. In a deeper sense, people are indirectly forced, indirectly being forced to spend the amount of money that provide targeted financial benefits for their family and future. As a result, families are suffering financial instability owing to lack of money and credits. Investment ultimately leading to less prosperous and stable society because of flowing fashion alongside our life and it has been and it has been used uh, inappropriately in recent years by clothing industry seems to have serious negative influence on the stereotypes communities. Alright, I spent too much time. Okay, I have to write the essay for this essay as fast as possible. Mm. Right. Let's try to. The diagram shows how drinking water is made using solar power. Okay, sunlight, and solar panel, and converter, and pump, underground well, electricity, water tank, water plant, drinking water tap, and mobile container. Where is interest? The diagram illustrates how solar power is generated by using solar 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 panel. We have low crosses all the crosses all the crosses 1 2 3 4 5 6. That's alright. Shows an angel is making this all crosses required requires different of different and complex equipment effects. It's a special especially notice 1 2 3 4 5, let's say, and 5 distinctive distinctive and right there so we can locate it specifically so, and the first stage first stage was receiving sunlight by low range what on to feel like metal object this is the sun which is on a long tube like metal object facing the sun. The solar panel transmits Transfer to transmits the I think on the on the round convert yeah, set it into electricity city, okay, electricity electricity and trans it's it is from fixed a underground well on the ground convert the set heat into electricity and transmit speed. There's a pump fixed in an underground well. The water no. It is about how drinking water is made. How let me see how drink well water is made. By using a solar panel. It includes 5 distinctive steps and requires 5 different pieces of equipment to locate it specifically. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, the water the problem is that it's made or it's pumped up. That's a problem. It's purifying or not. Okay. The water is pumped up to water tank. I long tube, long tube. Water is then pumped up to a water tank by a long tube. Where okay, which is on the wooden 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 platform The following. The following. The following stage involves 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 transferring the, the stored water in the stored water to rather smaller movable container 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 with this it's shorter it's shorter tube tube installed on the other what's the other side what's the tank what's the tank that water from the tank from the tank to the container is that is a shorter tube. So and the diagram illustrates how the ink water is made by using a solar panel. Also, process includes distinctive steps and requires different pieces of equipment. Specifically, the first stage involves receiving sunlight by a solar panel, which is installed on a long tube-like object facing the sun. A converter on the ground converts the heat into electricity specific to the pump fixed in underground well. The water is then pumped into a water tank on a long tube, which by a wooden platform the following station also is very similar. Alright, so guys, as you can see, I spent 1 hour. You gotta be honest with yourself. 133 words. Now, I could do more, but it's what I can do. As you can see, I spent much time for task 2 because I added something I didn't find it before. Alright, so what we're gonna do is right now check it my essay by ChatGPT because ChatGPT seems my only choice now. See, it's a problem. Okay. I think we had essay. What was last time I checked my student's essay? Alright. Okay, I tried to use this one. First, I'll send it questions. Honestly, this ask one question doesn't seem so readable. A word is 300 words. 7.5. Okay, it's good. It's good. I do still have here problem with my grammar. I was very cautious about it. Divine power, general public. Article. Where are my problems? A-N. Divine power. Status of superiority. Kinda, it's very difficult. Rulers. Rulers. Yes, 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 yes. Textile industry. The textile industry. The amount of money spent, money that could provide. Yeah, I was honestly didn't want to use the amount. I was hesitant in a subtly controlled. I thought about it also. Customers, every customer's choice. Mm. Spacing, bro, spacing. 7.5 seems a normal score. Let's see. Task 1. I'm not sure it would get high score. I don't know, but 7, normal, yeah. It's pretty positive. Also, I wrote fewer words. So what um, would be an overall score then? Writing score for us to essays. 7.5, yeah, it's making me really happy. I hope it would be the case in the test also. All right, pretty cool. And it's progress. It's not a so high score. However, where did I write my score? Oh, really? Wrote it here. Oh. I wanted to write it here, guys. So, writing 7.5. Not bad. If I got 9, 8.5, 7.5, let's go. I think it's gonna be 8, yes. If I get 7.5 from speaking, if I can get, but if I get 7 from speaking, what it would be? Yeah, let's 9, 8.5. I have the calculator. Let's use it. I'll do speaking mock also right now, guys. Let's say 9 plus 8.5 plus 7.5 plus 7 point, not 77. So to put divided 4 gonna be 8. Yeah, I may end up 8. Not a bad score. What if it was 9 plus 8.5 plus 7.5 plus 7.5? So 2 divided 4. Again 8. Yeah, Um, I think if I get 9 plus 9 plus 7.5 plus 7.5 divided 4. Oh, I still get. Saying it should round up in IELTS if I'm not mistaken, right? For example, if I get, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it would be 8.5. They round up in overall scores. Speaking, I think before speaking, I can take a break because in real exam also your speaking will be conducted differently, and your main exam is conducted differently, separately, I mean. So right now I'm gonna end the live stream and then I will turn on for speaking. Long was it? Almost 3 hours.